Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you all. Good to be here on today. Happy Friday. This is what we call happy hour, but this is a different kind of substance that we get happy on. This is the time, as in the Bible, in the book of Acts, Paul said, I think myself happy. I'm Apostle Darlyn C. Turner, and I have just been um, challenged and charged to help you and help the people of God and help those who just want to be happy, want to live a more joyous life, to help to give you some of the tools and also some of the principles of manning your mind. And so I'm continuing from last week with our topic of mind your business. How many of you know that minding your business is really, I'm talking about minding the business of your mind. And listen, I want you all to let me know who's watching, where you're from. I want to ask you to like this and share it. Whatever time you're watching, even if you're watching it later, I want you to like and share, particularly if it helps you, and it will, if you will listen, if you just give me a few moments. And I'm not even going to be long. I'm just going to give you some pointers. In the happy hour, that don't mean we go on the hour. It's just the hour that we appear, and we're going to give you some tips to help mind your business, okay? And I'm going to even try to keep this to about 15 minutes, all right? Because again, we're talking about the ability to think ourselves happy, the fact that we need to take ownership of our emotions when we're talking about happy hour and thinking ourselves happy. I want you to understand that really you were told a lie when most of us were when we were growing up. You know what we were told or how we were conditioned? We were conditioned that if little Johnny or little Sally hurt our feelings, our parents would soothe us and say, "Oh, did they hurt your feelings?" And then we say, "Yes, they hurt my feelings when they said this or whatever." Well, do you understand that the truth of the matter is that really you are responsible for your feelings? At an early age, we allowed and we gave verbiage and we gave credence to a behavior and to a thought pattern that other people could actually control our feelings or could hurt our feelings. But the truth of the matter is that you and I are totally in control of our feelings. And that's why if someone says something to you that you are are steady and sturdy in your spirit and in your soul about, it won't quote unquote hurt your feelings. Why? Because you don't believe what they said. So what am I saying? I'm saying to you that technically nobody can hurt anybody's feelings. The only time that our quote unquote feelings are hurt is when someone says something and it triggers a soul wound, a bad memory, something in our past. And so what that really should do is what it guides us to the place of healing and to the place that we need to get wholeness and clarity and closure in that particular area. All right? So to just kind of capsulize it and move on, because I want to talk about the 6 types of mindsets. I'm saying this. If someone, for example, told me, "Darlyn, you're worthless," right? If somebody says that to me, that doesn't hurt my feelings. You know why? Because I know I'm not worthless. The only way that banter would hurt my feelings is if somewhere in my soul I believe that I and worthless. Are y'all with me? So when you and I become whole in our soul, sure about our purpose, confident in who we are, you'll have a better understanding that what other people say can't hurt your feelings. What's happening is their speech is actually activating a wound that you need to heal. Are y'all with me? I hope you're understanding what I'm trying to translate. Okay? So I want you and see. So this is what I'm saying. A lot of us have been conditioned to, just continue to repeat our hurts and focus on the fact that somebody hurt us because they said something instead of focusing on the fact that there's a place in my soul, there's a place in me that I need to heal. Because if I was whole, that should not bother me. Because again, you and I are totally responsible for our own feelings, not other people. So other people really technically can't hurt your feelings, but what they can do is say something or do something that triggers the wounds in your soul or the memories that are connected to feelings that you had based in that situation, in that circumstance. Okay. And so I want you to understand it. And so if we were really taught that as children, if we were taught that when we were younger, then we would mature quicker. We wouldn't just wallow in our, some of us just wallow and we don't know how immature that is. We wallow in, oh, they said this to me or they said that to me. And then we get with our friends, right, who love us, and then they say, oh, that was wrong for them to say that. They ain't had no business talking about, you was worthless, darling. Their mama's worthless. Come on, then we get into all of that. How many of you know that there are people who live their whole life with that kind of exchange, constantly getting their feelings hurt, constantly in this state of disarray, getting people to join in on the banter, but never dealing with the problem, never dealing with the fact that no one can really technically hurt your feelings, and that you should be more focused on why that made you feel that way, because it's not them. So in other words, you don't focus on the fact that they called me worthless. I'd have to focus on the fact that somebody calling me worthless made me feel some kind of way. See, if we were taught that as kids, that's called emotional intelligence, by the way, EQ, right? And they have discovered that emotional intelligence is actually a better indicator of one's life success than IQ. You know why? Come, haven't you seen it? Haven't you seen the athletes, the celebrities, those people who've had endorsements or hundreds of millions of dollars from getting paid through their fame? But then they what? But then they self-destruct. But then they say something out of pocket. They don't have self-control. That's EQ. Come on, they get in their feelings. See, getting your feelings can cost you a contract, can cost you your future, can cost you, a job, right? And the unfortunate thing is because we haven't been given the right information, we justify getting in our feelings, and we justify because we don't understand the emotional intelligence. We justify acting the way we want to act. Come on, slinging a chair across the room and cussing somebody out and doing whatever it is that we feel that we need to do because somebody hurt my feelings. I want you to not say that again. You can say, well, you know what? That made me feel some kind of way. Or it's okay to say, well, you know what? I think from my response of that comment, I know that I need to do a deep dive and I need to see why I responded that way. See, that's a more mature approach to it, because it's one thing to I'm not saying ignore it because it's real, but what I'm saying is let's switch the perspective, and let's certainly not put blame on somebody who said something, and then you're saying that what they said is making you feel some kind of way because you control your feelings. Do you understand that? You really, if you don't, if you can't control your feelings, again, we're barring tragedy and things like that. That means that you don't have self control. Okay? And so we're talking about thinking ourselves happy, thinking ourselves happy in the midst of death, in the midst of tragedy, in the midst of whatever's going on in life. This is a segment and something I hope that you tell other people about, because this is something that we fail to do, in my opinion, in the church, is that we need to teach people how to think. Now, I'm not talking about teach people what to think, because that's cultish. Cultish. That would be robotic. I'm saying how to think. We got to learn to manage our minds, right? And so that's what these Fridays are going to be about, because you know what? Why am I saying this? How am I able to teach this to you? Because I've had to do it myself, because I'm guilty of it, because I tend towards depression, because I tend towards seeing the negative side than the positive side. Come on, because I've had to struggle my whole life, and I've had to do a lot of work on me to not be that way and recognize that that was something I could control. And because many of you know my story, my mother was bipolar. And I learned when I was little the power of the mind. And so when she would talk to me about all these things that had her so wound up all the time as a little girl, I'm thinking, that's all in your mind, Mom. Like I didn't understand how she couldn't switch her mind to think differently. And so I'm here to tell you that if you're not happy, if you're always in a state of, disarray, disgust, disturbed, mad, angry, disappointed, oppressed, come on, whatever, then you know what, boo, that's you. I know you want to put that on other people. I know you want to put it on, your spouse, your friend, your job, your boss. It's easy to do that, but I'm here to tell you, do you know you're responsible for your mind? You're responsible for your mind. And the thing is, what we think on, and if that's why the scriptures tell us, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are what? Pure, whatsoever things are worthy of virtue and worthy of praise, the scriptures say, think on these things. So the scriptures say, think yourself happy. Think on lovely things. So that tells us that we have the power to do it. Come on, I want you to say, I have the power to think on lovely things. You have the power. I want you to stop licking your wounds and feeling sorry for yourself. I want you to start paying attention to what's going on in your head every day. Have you ever journaled? I want to challenge those of you who are watching and listening. Start listening to the quote unquote spirit of your mind. The scriptures say God has not given me the spirit of fear, but the spirit of power and of love and of a sound mind. Do you all know that word spirit, pneuma, or breath, you can translate that to the attitude of your mind? What's the attitude of your mind? Could y'all put that in the chat? What's your attitude? What's your attitude most of the time? Is it anger? Is it fear? Is it oppression? Is it disappointment? Is it depression? Then have you so framed your world and framed your story in your head that everything that it is that's negative that you assign it to somebody else? Well, it's because these folks ain't acting right. It's because the way my bosses treat me. It's because of what's going on my job. It's because, come on, my husband is a knucklehead. Come on, it's because is that your life? Is that your life? Because if that's your life, I want you to understand that you're allowing other people to control the remote control in your head, your mind, when the scripture tells us that as a man thinketh, so is he. So if the spirit of your mind, y'all didn't put the spirit in, y'all didn't put the spirit in the chat. I want to know the spirit of your mind. Is what are you generally happy? Are you critical? Are you suspicious? Come on, I want you. What's the spirit of your mind? Do you even know? See, some of you don't even know, because I've done this exercise with some people that their response was nowhere near. It was clear to me you don't even know yourself, okay? Because everything that come out your mouth is negative. Y'all better help me here. How many know you ain't speaking negative and critical and suspicion if that's not what you're thinking? What's the spirit of your mind? Right? That's your homework. I want you to say, this is your, how many of y'all gonna do this homework with me? I want you to, all week long, I need you to write down what's in your head. Like, I want you have to start noticing what you're thinking, because we're so used to thinking what we're thinking that we don't pay attention to what we're thinking. And so I want you to start noticing what you notice, right? Like, I started noticing, for me, I'm talking about when I had to do over these last couple of years. Listen, I'm able to do this now because I've had 5 years of having to make sure that my mind didn't go in the way of my mother and in the way of other people in my family. And I understood I had to do the work, and I've done the work. To God be the glory, with the Spirit of God and the help of God, of course, because faith without works is dead. So you got to put that word works means corresponding action. So you can't just say you got faith for something to get better and you don't put corresponding action to it. And so I've spent these last several years in coaches and classes, getting deliverance, submitting myself to other people, to authorities, working on me, because I realized, I started noticing, and I knew this wasn't, listen here, this didn't start just at my husband's death. This did not start at just my husband's death. Okay, all right, I see somebody said, okay, great, but this is what I want you all to do. Awanda, I thank you for responding. You said you're normally pleasant, but this is what I want y'all to do, to deep dive. But then I want you to dive under that, because we have a primary state, but then we have that subconscious state. That's the state I want you to dig to, because let me explain what I mean. Especially those of us that have the Word of God in us, right? We might be, from a general standpoint, at a certain state all the time. But then when I begin to deep dive in my subconscious, I'm really asking you to start paying attention to your subconscious mind, right? And not just your personality. When I begin to dig to my subconscious mind, I realize that most of my thoughts were full of fear. Things like, afraid of running out of something, or, having anxiety about a lot of different things, full of anxiety too. So I'm not just talking about, your initial, how you present yourself to the world. That's not what I mean. I'm asking you to dive into, I'm talking about those thoughts, like, let's say somebody says something to you, and then, you have these kind of thoughts about what just happened or how somebody looked at you or what. I'm talking about those types of things. That until you really get to the subconscious, it's from the subconscious, people of God, that life comes. Because that's why, see, we'll maintain, what we like, what we show people, but that's why when at one time somebody say the wrong thing to you, you just like, respond in a way. It's because deep down, right, there's been feelings of maybe hurt or inferiority, or people been disrespecting you or whatever. Okay, so are y'all with me when I say subconscious? This is why this is not something you can really do on this live and say what the spirit of your mind is. You really have to get off of this live, and from now until next Friday, I want you to begin to pay attention. How many of y'all say yes that you're going to do this? Start paying attention and say, oh, man, that was anger that just happened. Oh, man, that was fear that I just had. Wow, that was anxiety. Because again, I didn't even know that I had as much fear as I did. I mean, fear about a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. I didn't know it until I started noticing it. So that's my challenge to you during this happy hour. I want to challenge you to start noticing what you notice. Start noticing what you notice. Write it down. Write that, and if you can write it down, write down what it was that you see. How often are you speaking? I'm talking about your inner voice, your inner conversations. Are your inner conversations full of gratitude? Are you grateful? Or are you normally complaining on the inside? See, I want you to really be real about this, right? If you're normally afraid or disappointed or whatever, anxious, so you need to deal with that. You need to deal with that, okay? Because you're not going to live the kind of life that you really deserve if you don't deal with that, okay? And so that's one of the ways that we think ourselves happy. We first start noticing what we notice, and we take note of the spirit of our minds. Okay, I'm seeing some people say, I complain, I'm fearful. Yes, see, truth in the inward parts. Yes, listen. And some of you may be pleasant and grateful, but then you may also have fear and anxiety, or maybe feelings of maybe you shrink, when it's time for you to come forward, right? You talk yourself out of doing things that God, might have told you to do. See, I want you to start paying attention to the conversations that you have with yourself, okay? Because life really comes out of our subconscious mind, not the mind that we just act with every day. It's the things that are settled in our subconscious. Okay, that's really where life is, or in other words, that's where our memories are, that's where our wounds are. You got to pay attention to that if you want to think yourself happy. Listen, I'm almost out of time right here. I'm gonna just throw these out here, and I'll continue with this next week, because I didn't get as far as I thought I was gonna be. But I'm gonna throw these out here. Why don't I make this part of your homework too? All right. So this is gonna help you. I'm gonna throw these. I think I came up with 6 or 8 states of mind that I want you to, as you're noticing what you're noticing, I want you to put this list down too, and I want you to use this list to pray before God and to see where you're landing in your state of mind. Are y'all with me? So I need somebody to help me with these states of mind. I think I have 8 of them that I got from scripture, okay? So the first one is double-minded. Are you double-minded? Is it hard for you to make a decision? Are you always between two opinions? Come on. If you're double-minded, you need to pray for courage. or you need to get knowledge and confidence. See, if you're tossing between opinions, one of the ways to stop that is to get more knowledge about the situation. I had a situation today that because I had done my research, I'm in a court case. Well, I'm in a couple of court cases. And the lawyers threw something at me. But because I had dug deep and quiet as it's kept, the law department recruited me in college because I got straight A's in law. So I've been doing my own research. And guess what? Because they threw something at me that I already had the knowledge of, I wasn't double-minded about it. See, when you know what you're talking about and you know what you're doing, you've done enough research, come on, to know this is a good deal for this house. To know, come on, this is a good time for me to consider moving or to make this jump or to start this business. When you've done your research, you won't be so double-minded. Some of you are double-minded because you've been too lackadaisical about doing the work or getting the knowledge and the confidence. Let me stop because this will take me. Let me stop. I'll do that next week. Because, see, I want to dig deep into each of these so you can understand and you can find yourself and you understand what you need to do to think yourself happy. Because, see, all of these behaviors and things like that are what's keeping you from success. And I'm trying to break it down for you to make it simple so you understand that you're in control of your life, your happiness, and where you end up. And stop using somebody else as an excuse. Okay? So I'm going to run through the rest. I'm not going to go. It's hard for me because I'm such a teacher, but I'm going to just give them to you and we'll come back next week. Okay. So double-minded is number one. Number two is reprobate mind. Of course, these are all biblical according to Romans 1:28. The next one is a wicked mind. And somebody's writing this down for me, right? So reprobate mind is number two. That's Romans 1:28 for those who want to get the scripture. The next, number three, is the wicked mind. That's from Proverbs 21:27. I know none of y'all don't have no wicked mind, but I'm just telling you the minds here. Number four is the right mind, according to Mark 5:15. Number five is the carnal mind, according to Romans 8:7. That's fleshly. Like you just follow your flesh, whatever you want to do. Whenever your flesh is going to be inconvenienced, you can't do it. Number, what am I on? 6, I think, is the sound mind, according to 2 Timothy 1:7. Number 7 is the ready mind, according to 1 Peter 5:2. And I'll get into the distinction between a right mind and a ready mind. But basically, ready mind is willing, right? A sound mind is sensible, but just because there's people who are sound in their mind, but they're not willing in their mind. They're not willing to do it. They're not willing to yield, okay? So I'm breaking down states of our minds and spirits of our minds so that you can be able to identify yourself and understand, because as a man thinks, so is he. So what do you think a non-willing mind is going to generate? What do you think a reprobate mind is going to generate? Well, the scripture already tells us what a double-minded man is going to get. Nothing from the Lord. Okay? So this is how serious. This is why I'm here. This is why I'm taking my time on Fridays, because I keep seeing people stay in the same cycles and try to do everything on the outside, taking a new course, trying to do something else, going around with this person, changing churches, planting a seed. Planting a seed is not going to change your mind. You got to take control of your mind. I don't care how much you give. You can give $1 million. But you need to work on your mind. Otherwise, you're going to continue to see the same results you have had in your life. Let this preacher tell you this, okay? Because I don't want to see. I've seen people even go to their grave because they did everything but change their minds, change their thinking. They came to church, they tithe, they gave, they served, but they didn't mind the business of their minds. And the last one, sorry, number 8, y'all know that already. What is it? It's the mind of Christ. Ooh, come on. So I want you to take those. That's 8 I gave you straight from the scriptures, revelation from God. He wants you to understand you need to learn how to think. And it starts with knowing how you think. Come on. And being aware. So that, because awareness is what is the beginning of your healing and your wholeness. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed this on tonight. And be sure to like it and share. Listen, especially if you know somebody who might be struggling in this area, okay? And so normally I do a Zoom afterwards, but I'm not going to be able to do that tonight. And again, I don't want to do anything that maybe people don't really want to, this may be enough for you. But we'll start back with the Zooms once I understand that this is, because the Zoom is for us to talk through it and for me to be able to interact with you a little bit more. So be prepared that, we're going to have those opportunities to jump on Zoom right afterwards and talk more extensively. All right. So I just want to let you know about some of the things coming up. You all know I did. Oh my goodness. You know what? I don't think I have a flyer, but how many of you know? Is this it? Yes, I do. Okay. Legacy Day. Legacy Day. January 16th is Legacy Day of the late, great Apostle Clifford E. Turner. I'm so excited about it. Listen, we have some major announcements. I think I saw Pastor Deidre on that. You know what, Pastor Deidre, you're gonna have to. I want Bolingbrook leadership to you and Apostle Ken to be on there. We listen. Legacy. His birthday was about him, the man, the ministry. But Legacy Day, we're going to be updating you on the things that we are doing moving forward. And baby, God has blessed the Liberty International Network. We are expanding, we are growing, and we need you to see it. We need you to know it. And we're gonna be going live from a location that we're so excited about it. We've had some major expansions, and like I said, I'm going to be making some other major announcements, and I'm so excited because this is all about a man who lived his life. He lived a legacy life. He didn't live a life just for himself. And so I hope that you're going to join us. I'm asking all of you watching, all of you that's friends, family, part of the LIN family, listen, mark your calendars. Number one, on the 16th, we're going to have, we do videos and stuff that just are posted all day, but we're going to have a live. We're going to have a live with some of the leaders and coming from some of the locations, and it's going to be amazing. Do you hear me? It's going to be amazing. And you're going to celebrate with us and with the victories that we're having in our network, because God's hand is on it, and how God has just blessed the sons and daughters and those who carry legacy and think legacy. Okay. So y'all know what's coming up next, right? Y'all know what's coming up, right? The birthday benefit. I'm inviting each and every one of you to my 60th, oh my God, birthday benefit, January 21st, 5 p.m., with none other than the, she's not even, I don't even know how, this girl is so talented. She's not a triple threat. She's a quintuple threat. I mean, an actress, a comedian, a writer, a producer. The girl is hilarious. And guess what? A lot of you may not have known Lexi is a widow. She's been a widow for 18 years. I'm going to post some of our interview that we did. We're going to have a glorious time. And listen, wherever you are, don't make no excuses. We have tickets that you can watch online. They're half the price, obviously, because you're not going to be eating the prime rib and all the other fine dining that we're going to be having with the hors d'oeuvres and all of that, because we are going to be fine dining and all of that. So listen, we want to make sure that you announce it. I'm asking the pastors and those of you who feel led. We need 9 more people to sponsor a table of widows. That's $800. And listen, because widows are coming free. I have several widows that are coming, amazing widows that are rebuilding their lives. I don't charge the widows. I ask for the leaders and those that are friends and family. Listen, trust me, I'm contacting all my family, okay, to help in whatever way. If you can't sponsor a whole table, then sponsor one widow. That's $100, or sponsor 2 widows. Whatever you can do, whatever you feel led to do. But this is our beginning of the year fundraiser to raise $60,000. That's our goal. If you want to write a $60,000 check, please do. The Lord's been showing me someone is to write a $25,000 check. I don't know who that is, but I believe they'll see this video and they'll know that this is what God wants them to do. We are a 501c3, and the widow is something that's been neglected, and it was the first thing in the apostolic and prophetic church that we see was an issue that was important enough for them to bring to the apostles and for them to gather that team full of the Spirit and full of wisdom. They didn't just gather anybody. They didn't just go get the kids and say, come on, kids, y'all come on. Like some of us, we just find the teenagers and let them do what we don't want to do. No, that's where Stephen came from, because it was an issue with the widow. That's how important. And that's the kind of persons. Come on. This is a serious assignment. It took people full of wisdom and the Spirit to maintain this and to oversee this. So this is a real thing. I take it seriously. Okay? And it's my calling. And God has raised me up to be a voice and to even wake up the church about the widow. And he says he'll bless all the works of your hands when you bless the widow. So I want to encourage you. You want all the works of your hands blessed? Now, you still got to change your mind, though. Okay? Now, just tell you the truth. All right? So, love for you to come. I will put the, if I don't have I forgot to put the, I can get it here. I'm going to put the, what am I trying to say? The link. I'm going to put the link in the chat. All right? And you all go ahead and do that. It's almost 2 weeks away. I can't even believe it. So please, you all, because we're going to have to cut it off. And it's too hard the last minute. They said that like 80% of people always buy tickets the last minute. And y'all who do events, you know what that does when people wait till the last minute. And then you get 60 more tickets at the last minute. And you got your chef that's preparing for the number that they got. Would y'all help me out, please, and not do this? Let's leave that in 2022. I want to ask you all to go ahead, if you're planning on going, to go ahead and plan on going. Or if you can't go, sponsor a widow. Would you do that for me? That's all I want to ask of you today. And all this month, my focus is these widows. I have widows that I need to help, widows that I need to help with their home, that we need to give them financial resources that will just really change. When it's things like whether somebody will lose their house or not, that's a real important thing, right? And so we're putting in place all the things that we need so we can be wise and we can be stewards, but we also give them other things. We just blessed the widow with a phone that needed a phone. We just, now I know some of you might think, I think I said the goal is $60,000. Y'all know that's not a lot, right? If we have 60 widows, and I'm not saying all the widows don't need money, but I'm just saying that would only be $1,000 a widow. You all know $1,000 a widow is not going to change anybody's life. Is $1,000 going to change your life? No. I mean, literally, we really need millions of dollars. I'm believing God for millions. But right now, this is where we're at. These are the needs that we have. And so, whatever you can do, we greatly appreciate it, knowing God promises to bless you. All right. Have a great week. Don't forget to notice what you're knowing, what you're noticing. And don't forget to write down what you're noticing in your journal and to meet me back here next Friday. Oh, also, listen, I'm gonna be back on for my girl Nisi. I forgot that. Oh my goodness, how did I do that? I'm gonna be back on with my team here. We're doing a quick pop up. So if you are interested in just learning some things about finance, we're gonna be talking about that. And that's gonna be at let me see, what time is that gonna be? That's gonna be in 45 minutes. So in 40, I'm gonna jump off and I'm gonna be right back on with my girls because we're having a course, but we're just doing this stuff for free. So you can kind of get a feel of some of the things we're going to talk about. And I'm going to be talking about the things that have to do about money. And now, again, I got to start with the mindset about money, because you can't have money without changing your mind. All right. So join me in 45 minutes, same time, same station. All right. Love to see you. Have a great week.